Hi everyone, you're welcome back to the channel once again. As you can see, our guest is back. And for those of you who do not know, she's our Portuguese attorney and she helped facilitate our relocation from Malta to Portugal just last year, 2024. And we've recorded a video in the past where we discussed all of the possible pathways to migrate to Portugal in 2025. So if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to leave it a link in the description. So if you are interested in moving to Portugal anytime soon, please do check out the video and so that you know the pathway that best suits you. So talking about Portugal immigration, there has been a lot of information in the media recently, and this is due to the amendment to the nationality law here in Portugal. So that's why we're back and we're going to talk about how this law affects us as immigrants here and how it's going to affect people who are intending to, immigrate to Portugal in the future. So without further ado, I'll just let Rafaela introduce herself and tell us a little bit about this new amendment. So.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Right.
Yeah, we are here today to explain a bit what happened in our Portuguese government, in our parliament regarding the immigration and the citizenship law. Everyone talks about, there's a lot of noise in the media, but we need some clarity and to point out at least the main changes of the immigration law and the citizenship law.
Okay.
Let's start by the biggest change that I think will be the biggest concern of all foreigners that are already based in Portugal. It is the citizenship time to apply for the Portuguese passport. So they changed the 5 years to 7 years to the CPLP community, to the Portuguese community, Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, São Tomé, etc. And 10 years for all the other nationalities. Okay, so 7 years for the CPL community and the 10 years for the non-CPL. Of course, everyone that already concluded the 5 years by the previous law and already applied for the citizenship, they won't be affected at all. Their application are still pending. Everything will be processed accordingly to the previous law. It's a granted right by law. But everyone that now are still waiting to conclude the 5 years, maybe they're missing 1 year or 2 years to the 5 years. Unfortunately, this new law is already producing legal effects since June 2025. So everyone now needs to wait until they complete the 7 years or the 10 years respectively. Yes.
Well, that's a bummer.
Exactly.
We're already counting down to 5 years, even though we just came anyway. So, but it's fine.
It's fine. For sure.
So, what happens after 5 years for those of us that are here?
Exactly. So, what people don't know, and we don't speak about it much in the social media. We don't find it. It's the permanent residency. So everyone that is already a legal resident in Portugal for at least 5 years. Doesn't matter if it's a golden visa regime, if it's a digital nomad, D7, D2, doesn't matter which residency permit category. They are all entitled to apply for the permanent residency. Permanent residence, it's like the green card of the United States, let's say. So it's equivalent regime, equivalent status as a Portuguese citizen. They have a lot of travel non-restrictions, so they can be in every part of the EU and establish their residency there or work there. Or in Portugal, they have also other kind of rights. They can vote, and this kind of permanent residence is valid for 5 years. So it's something that will be, of course, beneficial for our citizens that are here in Portugal. So let's say the first residency card is valid for 2 years, correct?
Yes.
The second one is valid for 3 years, so we already have 5 years.
Yes.
And then after this, we can apply for the permanent residency, valid for 5 years, and then after completing the 10 years, they can go to the Portuguese passport.
Okay. So previously there was no wait between permanent residency and passport. You could just apply for either one once you get to the 5 years.
Exactly. But people were more excited about the Portuguese passport, everyone applying for the citizenship, and they forgot about the permanent residency. But we cannot forget that the permanent residence is a very good option, namely for those citizens like Chinese or Indians, Pakistanis. They cannot lose the original nationality. So the permanent residence is like an option for them. So it still is a very good option.
Okay, okay, that's not bad. So let's talk about some of the things that will be changing based on this law. Apart from uh, the passports, passport timeline, obviously. Before now, kids born to legal residents were automatically granted citizenship provided you've lived in Portugal for at least a year. I see that that part of the law is also changing. There's been an adjustment to that law as well. So,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly, correctly. So now they also changed that from 1 year to 3 years. So everyone
Okay.
that was legal resident in Portugal for 1 year, the child that was born in Portugal, they had the right to apply for the citizenship. But
Yeah.
now they changed that as well, and the child that is born in Portugal needs to make sure that one of the parents
Parents.
are legal resident in Portugal for at least 3 years
3 years.
instead of 1 year to apply for the citizenship of the child.
Wow.
Exactly.
Are there any other strict or any other immigration, what's it called? Any other things to look out for in this nationality law apart from, these two things we've just discussed?
Exactly. So there's a very important regime that we need to point out. It's the family reunification. Okay.
Okay.
The family reunification, before it was possible to apply for the family reunification inside of Portugal without going to the Portuguese consulate or the VFS or the Gary
Okay.
Application Center from the country of origin.
Okay.
But now they also changed that. Now, everyone that wants to relocate their family members,
Okay.
first, they need to apply for a visa directly from their own country. They cannot be in Portugal with a Schengen visa, as a tourist visa,
Oh,
and apply directly for family reunification here. They really need to apply for a residency visa for
from their
family.
country. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
And another requirement for this family reunification is the main applicant that wants to relocate the family needs to be at least a legal resident in Portugal for at least 2 years.
Wow. So does
Yeah.
this mean that you can no longer do accompanying dependents when you're coming? You have to come alone?
No, 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 no. So that's different. So of
Okay.
course, when in the moment of the visa application, in the visa appointment before the VFS or the Portuguese consulate, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The all family members can apply at the same time. What
Okay.
that is not family reunification. That is
Yeah.
applying at the same
At the
time,
same
right?
time. Yeah.
The family reunification is something that is done after one
Oh,
of the applicants already received the residency card in their hands, right? Once they
okay.
receive the residency cards in their hands, and then they
I see.
decide, I want to relocate my mother, I want to relocate my
I see.
grandfather, something like that.
I
They need
see.
to be in Portugal at least 2 years as legal residents, and then after that they can
They can
relocate
now apply.
the rest of the family.
Okay, that's understandable. Well, it's a new change. It's
Yes,
a new change. It's gonna be difficult for some people who were counting on that because I know there are a couple of students who, prefer to come first, especially because of the language barrier for those of us that come from English
for sure.
speaking. Yeah. They prefer to come first, like the main student or the main applicant, they come first, get a feel of the place and then before, get a job, settle down before they try to do the family unification for their spouses or kids. So this is going to affect those set of people because it's kind of strong arms them. They will have to either apply as a family and, come to Portugal together and figure out everything
Exactly.
as they go.
And there's another thing. There's before this law changed everything, we were already facing some delays from IMA, from the
Yeah,
immigration authorities, in
that's
terms
right.
of granting appointments to family reunification
That's true.
situations. And of course, everyone that are at the moment waiting for positive replies from IMA, or they already filed some lawsuits before the courts to obligate IMA to get them an appointment
Yes,
for the
yeah.
family reunification. Everyone that already applied for certain lawsuits to obligate IMA to give us an appointment, those are also granted and protected by law. Okay, so
Okay.
this new law will only produce legal effects from June 2025, sure, but always for new
New
applications, not
applications.
for people that already are chasing IMA for already 1 year to get an
Okay.
appointment for family reunification. Okay.
Okay. All right. You keep saying that the law produces effect from June 19th, 2025. But when was the law actually approved? I know there's been debate online, debate in the parliament for a while.
So the parliament approved last week, 16th of July,
Oh,
2025.
just last week.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Hopefully, hopefully it goes all well for the rest of us immigrants, who are worried.
No, there's a group of lawyers and legal professionals. We are discussing like some amendments to do to this new law. Why?
Okay.
Because this law violates the Portuguese constitution,
Oh,
namely regarding the principle of equal rights. So, when they decided to discriminate CPLP nationals and other
okay.
nationalities, they are violating a big principle, right? So they want to at least make it seven for everyone, 7 years the
Okay.
path to the
That's
citizenship.
reasonable.
Let's wait.
That's reasonable. So you're saying there's a chance that the law might be, revised. Some components of the law might be revised to.
Exactly, because this already happened some years ago. Because before 2020, the citizenship law mentioned 6 years to the citizenship. Then in
Okay.
2020, they changed 6 years to five.
Okay.
And before the five, they also made an amendment regarding all nationalities because they also meant they made the separation between CPLP and other nationalities. But then the
Okay.
principle of equal rights they violated as well, and that's why they created a law applicable for all nationalities.
Everybody.
So
Okay.
now we are facing the
The
same
same
situation that
thing.
what happened
Wow.
before.
Just
So
5 years ago.
exactly. So we are hoping they are making it the same. So if they make seven for CPLP community, they will also make the 7 years for other nationalities. I hope so. Otherwise, we have to wait
Okay.
for the lawsuits.
I'm hoping that revision applies as well because 7 years is it's reasonable, especially when you compare to other EU countries that are actually reducing, the timeline from 10 years to 7, 8, and 5, even 5.
Exactly.
So yeah, so 7 years is pretty reasonable for Portugal at this time. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's other very a big change that I also need to point out.
Okay.
It is the job seeker visa and the work visa for Portugal. So of course the job seeker visa was before applicable for all nationalities and for any type of
Job.
background, academic background. But now this visa is only applicable for high qualified candidates.
Oh,
So it means they need to have a degree or a master. Exactly. So
wow.
people that don't have that kind of qualifications are not eligible to apply for the searcher visa. Yeah.
Okay. Does it have to be a master's or some degree programs are accepted as well?
We have to see case to case, but at least some academic background qualification will be
Oh,
enough to
I
prove
see.
the high qualified professional.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. And this job seeker visa, I know a lot of people that have, come in with just wow, that's also a huge blow. Is there any other change part of this amendment that might might impact immigrants?
Yes.
We've done D1 to D9, so there's a lot of changes to those to the requirements of those visas. So is there anything else? Was anything
So beside of all these changes, they also abolished the Jeffreyfic, the Jew citizenship path because Portugal offered a very advantageous program for those that has descendants of the Portuguese Jew community.
oh,
So everyone
okay.
that was Jew that was proved they had some descendants of Jew, they were eligible to apply for the citizenship for Portugal, but now they also abolished that.
Abolish that. Wow.
The CPLP visa, before it was automatically approved, now it's subject to prior approval, okay, before the consulates as well.
Wow.
Everyone needs to apply for a visa to be in Portugal for residency purpose. There's no exemption anymore.
Wow.
Then, for the Portuguese citizenship, they are requesting the Portuguese language test, like the Portuguese language certificate. Before it was the A2 level, but now they are going to change A2 to C1 level. So it
Wow.
means we need to understand a bit more
Oh
about the
my, I was
Portuguese.
going to ask that. So it's no longer A2. It's now.
No, now it's C1.
Wow.
It means that you need to understand a bit more about our history, about our
Okay.
culture.
Okay.
But in the end of the story, it's not complicated. It's just a matter of getting a bit attached to our community,
Yes.
read a
Yes.
bit more books about it, and I think people will be fine, right? It's not a
Yeah.
big thing.
It's not a big deal actually if you integrate into the community. For Portugal though, I think it has been pretty seamless so far. People are really nice, welcoming, and so it shouldn't be
No,
a big it shouldn't be a
exactly,
big issue. Wow,
exactly,
but I
exactly.
was going to ask that because I knew that was one of the requirements. It had to be A2, so it's now gone all the way to C1.
C1.
Not
It's
even
more.
B.
C1 means it's not just about our grammatic. It's
Grammars,
more
yeah.
about our culture, about our history, about our
Wow.
democratic values, about our rights and our
Okay.
duties as a Portuguese citizen, right? So that's
Okay.
why.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Another very important change was the creation of a body, of a new police unit for immigration and border control. So
Okay.
in Portugal at the moment, we have IMA, the immigration
Yeah.
authorities, where you have to convert the visas into a residency
Residence
card.
card. Yeah.
In the renewals, we have IRN, the registry office, and we have the Portuguese consulates who give the visas, right? But then now, when you enter in the Portuguese airport in Lisbon or Porto, you will pass the PSP, the police authorities that they have like immigration authorities powers, so they also
Okay.
control your visas and your passports. But now they created a new unity. It's called Foreigners and Borders Unite,
Okay.
integrated of our public security policy (PSP), and
Okay.
they will not only control the borders, they will make inspections, immigration inspections, like to people houses, stuff like that, and they
Oh.
will make an enforcement of deportation order. So everyone that receive a letter with the deportation order, they have like 30 days or
To
20 days to
leave.
leave the Portuguese territory.
Yeah.
And after that deadline, they didn't left Portugal for some reason. This unit, sorry, will control those deportations. They will go and
Okay.
chase the people to understand what happened, why they didn't left Portugal, what is pending,
Yeah.
what is not pending. Because of course there are some exceptions of humanitarian reasons that we also need to respect. And of course there's some limitation.
Yeah.
It's not something that people go like the United States, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are people
Obviously.
living there since ever, and they are being deported back to India or to Guatemala, and they never
Never.
lived there. They never lived there. So in this case, in Portugal, I think we will be having a different criteria in terms of deportation. It will not be like, okay, you're illegal, just go be deported. Of course, it will be duly analyzed and everything. So that's why now it's more than important to have a legal professional on your side
Yes.
to make
Yes.
sure that your rights are being protected and safeguarded.
Yes, yes. I think it's pertinent that if you want to relocate or immigrate to Portugal anytime now, you should have a legal expert on your side.
And
That's
then
something.
by last, so all the residency cards, all the visas that are expired at the
Okay.
moment, they are now considered valid until 15th of October 2025. It was
Okay.
automatically extended by
Okay.
our Portuguese government. So everyone that wants to enter in Portugal and the residency card is expired
It's
from,
expiring.
I don't know, February 2025, they
Okay.
can still enter in Portugal with the expired residency card. That's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
What sometimes happens is not the Portuguese authorities, is the authorities of the country
They are
of
passing
residency
through.
or origin of the applicant. For example, certain countries like Iran, Russia, other Middle East countries might have some more difficulties in terms of leaving the country and entering in Portugal because they will check the
The
residency card and will
residency.
say, but this
Yeah.
card is
It's
expired.
expired.
Even though we present a letter that mentioned that the cards are valid until 15 October 2025 by the Portuguese government, etc., it will be sometimes can be difficult to prove that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the authorities don't have that legal knowledge. So that's
Yes.
why, again, it's important to have a legal professional on your side to guide you in the best strategy in terms of traveling, in terms of managing
Yeah.
your life,
Doing.
entering and leaving Portugal.
Yeah, the timelines for IMA has been like really slow lately. I hope with this new amendment and all of that, I hope they will be able to pick up the slack, because I mean it's been really slow. People are waiting months for cards and
Yeah.
even months for their appointments. So I hope with this new amendment they'll be able to manage at least from now till October 15th. I mean, that's a couple of months. They'll be able to, manage the backlog and make things more
Yeah, for
seamless.
sure.
Thank you so much for coming on here to clear the air. I really didn't know most of this here, most of the information you shared here, because we only know what we see online, and there's a lot of, propaganda, there's a lot of, misinformation going on out there. So if you don't have access to someone in the parliament or like a legal expert like yourself, you wouldn't really know what to make of what with the information that is circulating around social media. So I hope this video helps to educate anyone that wants to know, the true nature of things. Yeah, when it comes to the amendment of the Portugal immigration laws.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was nice having you here once again. See you soon.